What is going on, guys? My name is Professor Nigel, and welcome to part 3 of my favorite and the best dirty bomb classes in Black Ops Cold War. Obviously, any of these loadouts can be used in any Fireteam game mode. I personally find that they're best for Fireteam Dirty Bomb, but give them a try in any of the other Fireteam game modes. And I think they're also still pretty well-rounded classes, even if you want to transfer these over to Warzone. So if you haven't seen part 1 or 2, go check those out. They're on my channel. Part 2 is kind of centered around more AR classes, while part 1 is just kind of overall some of the best classes, what you want to be looking for in Dirty Bomb classes, how you want to be setting your classes up. So if you don't necessarily want to use these weapons, I think part 1 is very valuable in terms of what you want to be looking for and what the game mode kind of calls for in terms of class setups, especially if you're going and trying to get a W in Dirty Bomb. So let's get into the class setups that I've got for you today. Last time out, I kind of said I was going to be focusing more on some of the SMGs, and while I do have that, I do have a couple of combination classes, which I realized I haven't really been showing you guys how you want to be setting up your classes if you want to be running an AR SMG setup. So let's get into the first class. So the first class setup I've got is the AK and the Bullfrog. For the AK, I'm using the Space Probe Blueprint as a starting point, but I made some slight changes. So instead of using the stock as well as the muzzle, I've changed the 2 attachments to an optic and the Spetsnaz grip for the underbarrel, and I'm using the axle arms 3 times for the optic. Now, because you're using an SMG, that will kind of be for your closer range. You're going to want something for longer range engagements. So definitely throwing on the 3 times is super helpful, especially because some of these Dirty Bomb maps are pretty big. And at some points, you might be taking out some targets that are 50, 100 meters away, and you want the ability to actually see them. In terms of recommendations for any other changes with this class, I know the 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel in Cold War takes away a lot of your recoil control, so if that is still giving you an issue, change it up to the 18.2-inch takedown. It removes all the struggle there. And the Spetsnaz grip for the AK, I think some of the other Spetsnaz grips take away horizontal and vertical recoil control, or as in it helps you to control your recoil. For some reason, the Spetsnaz grip for the AK, I'm not sure if this is just with all the assault rifles, only really helps with your horizontal recoil control. So you're still going to have a bit of vertical recoil to deal with. So again, if you want to switch it up to the 18.2-inch takedown, by all means, go for it. For some of the other ARs, this has been a change that I've made, and I think it goes a long way. Of course, you can use whatever AR you want, any of the other AR builds that I had in part 2. If you want to go check those out, go for it. If you've got a Krig build that you prefer over the AK, go for that. The AK is just kind of there for some more AR build ideas, and also just really a placeholder for any AR that you kind of prefer. The better build, and the thing that I think is more important in this class is the Bullfrog build, and just the Bullfrog in general. I haven't fully ranked up the Bullfrog, but I know it's a very, very powerful SMG, especially in Warzone. So if you haven't already tried, go definitely use it in Warzone. It's very, very good, and I know it just gets better once you rank it up. However, even just a mid-ranked Bullfrog, these attachments, we've got the 6.7-inch VDV reinforced barrel, the 5mm laser, the foregrip, the 65-round mag, and the speed tape is a really, really solid build. You can also definitely use this as kind of just an hipfire build for the Bullfrog. I mean, you throw the 5mm laser on pretty much any SMG, and it really helps the up-close and personal hipfire. Actually, you're close in a building, you can definitely go for that. If you do want to use this primarily as a hipfire build, you can definitely go ahead, throw on the 65-round speed mag, or once you unlock it, the 85-round fast mag. Again, if you're going to be using this for hipfire, you don't really care about how long it's going to take you to aim down your sight. So go with however much ammo that you want to throw on this thing, and really, honestly, the bigger the better, especially when you're running into that last objective. If it's in a house or something like that in Dirty Bomb, I know multiple targets can pop up at any time, and the more ammo, the better, especially when you're up close and personal. That is the first class setup in terms of perks and what I'd prioritize because I'm using a Lawbreaker and I can't use Perk Greed. In Dirty Bomb, the best perks that I would recommend you to use are Flak Jacket, Tracker, and Ghost. You can definitely, in the third perk slot, mess around with Ninja and Cold-Blooded. I think Ghost is the best. There are a lot of spy planes going about in Dirty Bomb. People pick them up off the ground all the time. You don't want to be stuck on the radar. I think that's way more important than Cold-Blooded or Ninja. Ninja, there's going to be so many people around different objectives most of the time. I don't think footsteps are the biggest problem when you're running around in Dirty Bomb. Definitely I can see how Gung Ho, however, would definitely help. In terms of any of the other perks in the second or first perk slot, the only other one I'd recommend in the first perk slot over Flak Jacket is Tactical Mask. There are definitely a lot of stuns, as well as you're immune to gas with Tactical Mask, and gas bombs are a huge, huge part of Dirty Bomb. Very, very frustrating. I use them all the time. In this particular class setup, I've just got the trophy system, but 9 times out of 10, I'm running the gas mine. That's the first class setup. Let's get into the second one. The second class setup I've got for you guys today is very similar to the class setup that I showcased earlier in another video of my EM2 best class setup. This thing, I think I went into it a little bit in that video about what this setup is and what it's best for and the changes to go about making it better for Dirty Bomb or longer range engagements. So if you're curious about this class setup, it's pretty much the same thing as the AK, just slapped onto an EM2, but definitely go check out my EM2 class setup video. Some great gameplay there, and also the full class setup for the EM2. In terms of the PPSh, now of course you can slap this PPSh with any AR you want. On another video, I had someone comment about how they loved the Krig 6 PPSh combination, and by all means, whatever AR suits you, definitely go for it. Pair it up with the PPSh. This is a great, great secondary. Very similar to the Bullfrog, it's just a lot of ammo, high damage PPSh. So I'm using the Loud Pipe blueprint as kind of a starting point. And the only changes I think I've made might be the Spetsnaz grip. I think for the most part everything else is the same. I know I definitely took off the sight, and I think I took off the muzzle from the Loud Pipe blueprint. I could be wrong on that, but these are the attachments. If you don't have the Loud Pipe kind of setup, it doesn't really matter as long as you have these attachments unlocked. It's purely cosmetic, the actual detailing on the gun. But again, this is all about maximum ammo, the maximum ability to take out as many enemies up close and personal. So I've kind of got it prioritized a little bit for aiming down your sight, but definitely if you want to switch it up, you can remove the handle, throw on something that might control the recoil a little bit better, like the Spetsnaz compensator, or if you want to have some sound suppression, go with the suppressor, the GRU suppressor. Of course, that takes away from the damage, though, so maybe I'd probably just stick with the regular suppressor. In terms of anything else, again, if you want to use this for more of a hipfire PPSh, throw on the 71 drum mag. This is definitely a lot of ammo, and of course it takes away from the reload quickness and the ADS, but if you're dropping in the last objective and you're just trying to take out as many people, 71 rounds goes definitely a long way. Especially if you're jumping on the last objective, you might not survive long enough, so a good starting amount of ammo on a gun like the PPSh, I think is where the 71 drum mag kind of comes really, really in handy. In terms of the perks and the rest of the class setup, it's pretty much the same as the other one. No change between that. That's the second class setup, and more importantly, the PPSh class setup that I personally really like. Let's get into the third class setup. So the third setup I've got is the Tech 9. This class setup is just my hipfire build from my Tech 9 class setup video. If you haven't already seen that, go check it out. This time around, I will show you the attachments for this one. I'm just using the full auto repeater, the 8.1-inch Task Force barrel, the 5mm laser, the field agent grip, and the 39-round mag. If you don't want to be using this exclusively as a hipfire build, definitely take off the 39-round mag, throw on the 30-round mag. This enables you to have a little bit more of ADS time and makes it an overall quicker SMG. Now, this class setup I've kind of built like you're using it to run around either in objectives that are just in buildings, you know you're going to be close quarters the entire time, or you're running on to the last objective and you just need a quick SMG to just kind of get the job done, get that arm on the bomb. You need, 1 or 2 kills to just get to the bomb or something like that. And the other priority I've got here is I'm using perk read. Perk read I think is fairly important. If you're not going to be using your Lawbreaker wildcard and you don't want to be using an AR SMG combination, use perk read, have flak jacket, have tactical mask, and ninja and ghost. That is the real kind of perk to using 6 perks here, and they're very, very useful within Dirty Bomb. In terms of your secondaries, if you are using perk read or you're using danger close or gunfighter, something like that, you want the extra 3 attachments for your primary LMG. Use whatever you want for your primary. In terms of secondaries, the Marshall or the AMP63 is where it's at. These are 2 guns that you can get dual wield. I'll show you my setup that I've got for the Marshall. It's pretty standard. I mean, there's not a lot of attachments you can unlock for the Marshall, but once you have unlocked the 12.1 inch extended barrel, the Dragon's Breath, and of course the dual wield. The dual wield is the most important part, as well as the Dragon's Breath. This absolutely shreds through armor and is super, super useful to take out, that one pesky last person that's on the bomb in Dirty Bomb. They're super effective secondaries if you are going to be using something that doesn't allow you to use 2 primaries. I haven't fully unlocked the AMP63s, but I pick them up all the time, and I see people in Dirty Bomb using them all the time. Get them dual wield, they're absolute beasts, and that is the 3rd class setup. Let's get into the 4th and final one. Alright guys, so the 4th and final class setup is just yet another example of what is important about all of these classes. You want an SMG class in Dirty Bomb that you can just absolutely send it with. You want to be able to take out as many targets as possible, and you don't want to be afraid to fire from the hip. Dirty Bomb can get hectic sometimes, especially when you're on that last objective, or you're just kind of in a crowded room or anything like that. So pair up this MAC-10 with whatever AR you want to use, or, sling it alone and build it like I've got it right here. In this particular case, I'm using the Gunfighter wildcard, which means I can use all 8 attachment slots. I'm using the Microflex LED. I'm using the muzzle brake. I'm using the 5.9 inch Task Force barrel. I'm using the 5 milliwatt laser, the Field Agent grip, the 53 round drum, the airborne elastic wrap, and the wire stock. What's important about all of this is not that I'm using all 8 attachments, but that I've kind of built this to where I can use this in pretty much any situation, and it works. I obviously am prioritizing it a little bit for up close and personal, so if you want to use this paired with an AR or anything like that, go ahead, remove the stock, remove the muzzle, and remove the optic. You still have yourself a pretty solid setup here. It is a little jumpy in terms of recoil. That is the one thing I will admit about this build. So if you want to knock this down, you can go ahead, try out the 6.5 rifled or the 6.1 inch reinforced heavy are 2 solid alternatives. For me, I think I can control it on controller in terms of the recoil, but at times it does get a little bit much, especially if you're not up close and personal. So give that a try. In terms of stocks, I wouldn't try anything else other than the wire stock. The duster stock, for some reason, I don't understand the difference between the wire stock and the duster stock, and why you would ever choose the duster stock over the wire stock. And then pretty much the rest of the stock attachments take away from your hip fire accuracy, so wouldn't necessarily recommend unless you're trying to build this for ADS. This MAC-10 is for the most part built for a hip fire build, so if you have better build that you use in Warzone or something like that, that works well for you, in other areas of multiplayer, go for that. Again, this is just for some ideas for some good SMG classes to send it for that last objective. Not much about the rest of the class really matters. Use whatever secondary you want, whether it's a crossbow, the nail gun, whatever, some pistols, or you pair it up with an AR. A MAC-10 is a great SMG to be using. And it's more so just about using the MAC-10 rather than what attachments or whatever else you kind of got going on. Definitely, I'd recommend pairing it up with an AR, but I built it like this because I do occasionally use the MAC-10 to just kind of go in for a last objective, and it's something that's quick, keeps you, on your toes. It's not something like an LMG that's weighing you down, and it gets the job done. Overall, those are all my class setups that I have for you guys today. Let me know if you have any changes, any recommendations, or any other class setups that you guys love to use. For the time being, I think these are the best setups that you can be using. Between the other two parts, I think you guys know what I'm getting at between whatever gun I'm using, whether it's an AR, an SMG. They're all built for a certain purpose within Dirty Bomb, whether it's the SMG where you want to be up close and personal, you want to take on multiple targets, you're using it to just get into that last objective, or it's an AR, the longer range engagement, or the first video where I kind of give all around class setups such as the Type 63, the MP5, some LMG ideas. I think all these rules just kind of apply. You throw these other attachments on any other SMG, any other AR, any other LMG, whatever it is. Those are the class setups I've got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means the world to me, especially if you've made it this far, if you've watched all 3 parts. If this has been helpful to you, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And from now on, I think a couple weeks out or a month or whatever it is at this point out now, in terms of Dirty Bomb helpful tips and videos, I think we'll kind of be tuning it down from here out. There will definitely still be Dirty Bomb content on the channel, but Vanguard's coming out soon, Battlefield's coming out soon, so let me guys know if you guys have any other questions, any other advice that you want from me. I play a lot of Dirty Bomb, so if you've just somehow gotten into it or something like that, or you think you're going to be sticking around on Cold War, let me know. Hit me up down in the comments. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me. Peace.